Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever. Welcome to episode 21 of Watchin' You. I'm Jeff Scott in St. John, New Brunswick, and joining me every single time from Stewiacke, Nova Scotia is...
Jeff Gray.
What happened to cool Uncle Jeff?
No, it's just a stick. That's a stick. I mean, somebody, other people call me that. That's fine. But yeah, we just need something to differentiate ourselves, right? So
yeah. All right, so Jeff Gray is back.
Jeff Gray has never left. They just use it. It just makes it better for us on the Facebook page because Jeff G, Jeff S, Jeff Q, Jeff P.
Do you remember the unknown Kiss fan?
Yeah.
Who made an appearance on here once?
I do.
Yeah.
I
was going through some old episodes and I saw him.
Oh, you just saw that, did you?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was a while back. But yeah, nice shades. Cool.
Yeah, I like these.
Yeah, cool Kiss fan. Anyway, the Spaceman returns.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a chance to see Ace on the Tonight Show?
I did.
What'd you think?
Why do they have to do New York Groove?
I know.
It's like there's so many more interesting things he could do, and they do that song. So that was the first thing, and then the second thing. I mean, they played it fine. He sang it okay for as good as any Kiss member sing live these days. So
yes, that is true. He's doing as well as any other Kiss member. Maybe Gene is doing better. No, I thought it like the first few notes. It's like that was kind of.
Yeah. The guitar was cool.
He went. His line was, "Many years since I was here," and it was just like, "Oh my God, Ace, it was terrible." I thought his singing was bad. The guitar was okay. Nice flashing guitar.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, from a producer's point of view, you got to look at it and say, if the producer is some 27-year-old and has no idea who Kiss or Ace Frehley are, he's got to say, throw me something, man. What'd you do? I know you were big in the 70s. Just throw me something.
But it was
he probably said, well, man, I did this, that you'd shock me, and I did a solo album, and I did New York Groove. And I said, oh, New York Groove, I think I know that one.
But I saw them
play that one.
I saw a clip of them practicing Love Theme from Kiss.
Oh, that would have been cool.
You didn't see it, just heard it. You heard it. But I thought it was really odd. I mean, here he's up there standing there, like sort of like this, like you would, like at a wedding, the little tiny stage. Like how much smaller could it possibly get than what he was, than the big stage that he would have had with Kiss, right? So, but I mean, hey, look, it was a performance. He carried it off. They didn't play any lead guitar in it.
No, there was no lead solo.
Other than the little ditties he does in there, but
did he? Look, I'm not familiar with the show. It's a Tonight Show with
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. So did he just sit in with the band and did he perform that? I only saw I didn't see it live. I only saw him doing New York Groove. So I didn't see anything else that he did with the band.
I didn't see it either. I just saw that. That's all I saw. So maybe somebody else may have seen that. They could share that with us. But.
And I wonder if Jimmy Fallon spoke with him, if he had a chance to promote his album. I'm not sure.
No.
What else went on?
Well, that's what I was kind of shocked by. I think he's got a brand new album coming out.
Yeah.
You think he'd have played? He should have at least played the Joker. I mean, at least something from the
something to promote the album.
That's what you'd think.
Yeah.
But anyway, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad performance. I'm not going to complain. It wasn't nothing over the top either. Right?
Well, it's just nice to see that Ace is still Ace. He's doing things.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah.
I
was watching.
If he's clean and sober, I guess is he? I don't know. I assume he's clean and sober. I can't tell.
I don't know.
Because
he knows.
Ace has that dizziness and swagger to him anyway, and it's just hard to tell.
I liked what Joe Polo said. When I was talking to him. He said he's sort of like he's the second coming of Keith Richards.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
I thought that was quite funny. Yeah,
very similar.
But you remember, I was watching a show of ours here recently. I do check him out every once in a while. And you were talking about Ace's costume somewhere. You see how he never has a neck anymore. Like his costumes always come up to here.
Yes.
I figured out what it was.
What's that?
It's not the costume. It's his neck. It's going down his face.
He's got no neck anymore.
The face he's just kind of rounder in the face, so it doesn't.
I'm Ace Frehley.
Exactly. The face goes down like that, right? So, yeah, that's what it was. So, but it wasn't a bad performance. Good to see him. I'm really glad to see him out and about and being productive at this stage.
Definitely. I mean, my gosh, Anomaly. It's hard to say. I don't know why.
Try and say sea anemone.
Yeah. and now Space Invader, I think good effort on behalf of Ace. It's been, 10 years since he's last played with Kiss? 11 years? I think Peter might have had one solo album since Kiss. I don't know. But I don't think...
I don't think he had anything since the last time he was with Kiss.
No, I thought he had some kind of a...
Someone will correct me because I'm not sure.
They will know.
Kiss fans. Yeah, I'm not. As you know, I'm not an aficionado of Kiss trivia in any way. So, but yeah. So Anomaly. But did you listen too much to Anomaly when it came out, or?
I did. I had it in my MP3 player, and I walked around and listened to it, and some tracks. It's not the kind of thing where I played it 50,000 times over like Love Gun and knew every note. I mean, I listened to it a few times, and I had other things that I liked better. So it went by the wayside, and I remember a few things about it. But I think I like this album better. But I have to ask you, Jeff. I noticed that there was a lot of podcast and webcast and webisode hosts who got their copy of Space Invader in the mail.
Yeah.
Their actual physical CD copy in the mail, and they posted, look what I got in the mail today, look what I got. So I got to ask you, Jeff, did you get your CD copy of Space Invader in the snail mail?
I've had it for about, about 3 weeks now.
Oh, really? Okay, because I didn't get mine.
Yeah, well, I mean, I told Ace to send you one, but I didn't.
Yeah, he didn't.
Of course not.
So I called Ace.
Yeah, what did he say?
Well, he said, "Oh man, I feel like shit. I'm gonna fly over and give you a copy of the record." So I met with Ace the next day, and there we are. He's standing next to me. He gave me not just the CD, but an LP copy, which is nice big artwork. Yeah.
See his neck in that photo. His neck.
And and then Eric Singer was jealous, so he showed up the next day, and we chatted for a bit. And
Eric's quite small.
Yeah, he is a small guy. And then after that, it was, what a week. I mean, Dweezil Zappa showed up for dinner. So, I mean, it was just, it was just visit after visit. So it was a crazy week.
It's all karma, see, because you didn't get the CD. Yes. You got all this other stuff that happened. And, yeah, that's cool. I've never been that close to Ace before.
No. That's all right. All right, let's get started on Space Invader.
So, that's what we're going to talk about. Ooh, I like the way you say that again. Say that the way you said that.
Space Invader.
I don't know. That's hilarious, actually. Space Invader. That's pretty good what you did there. I liked what you did a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
So Space Invader.
I'll have to patent that. Yeah. So here we go.
Well, it is by virtue of the show. It is patented. See. Yeah. Well, so these copyrighted.
I have listened to the album several times over. I went kayaking, put the earbuds in my ear. Now, what a stark contrast. I'm in this beautiful pond on or lake on a lovely summer evening, and there's loons, and there's beavers, and there's birds, and the sun is going down. And in my ears, I got space rock. So it was kind of a weird contradiction of ideas. But that was my first opportunity to listen to it. It was in the kayak. I had a good hour or so. Yeah, he didn't do any kayak songs. That's the thing that bothered me.
Into the weeds.
Yeah, into the weeds. I had to pretend that my kayak was a spaceship.
Yes, or a torpedo.
Anyway, I liked it better than the last two Kiss efforts. I have to be upfront. I liked it better than Monster. I liked it better than Sonic Boom. And the reason I liked it better is because it sounds like rock and roll. And when I say rock and roll, it's got a more playful and rolling sound. If you think about songs like Getaway, All the Way, some of those, Let Me Know, some of those earlier Kiss songs, where the guitar is a little more playful, and it's more rock and roll than, say, hard rock, heavy metal. And I think, Kiss have certainly experimented with both, and I find that later Kiss efforts are more along the hard rock. It's almost like they're taking it a little too serious, like they have something to prove, and it just doesn't sound like fun. I mean, some stuff on those newer albums was kind of rock and rollish, but I thought a lot of this stuff on Ace's album was very much rock and roll. He's not a heavy metal guy at all. No. He's a rock and roller. Yeah.
That's true. I think that, and I resist comparing them because I don't know. I think Ace's work just needs to stand alone, and and same thing with Kiss. We can talk about Sonic Boom and Monster, and I have my own thoughts about that, and whether I like them or whether I don't like them. But I don't think if I was Ace, I wouldn't want the criteria for whether or not I was successful or not to be measured against Sonic Boom and Monster. I'd want it to be measured against the work that I've done and the quality of the effort that I put forth.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. For myself, as a fan of Kiss and as a fan of Ace Frehley, what it comes down to is, like, I'm taking a little road trip on Thursday, and I've got so many choices what I can listen to in the car. Am I going to go back to this album? Yeah, probably. I think I'll play some of this album. I certainly won't be playing any Sonic Boom or any Monster in the car. Maybe, well, I don't know. But I don't think I will. I think there's a few tracks on this CD that I've liked, and they've kind of grown on me, and I'll probably be blasting those at mile marker 29. So
the hard part about this is what if it wasn't Ace Frehley, if it was just an album that came out today, by anybody else like Joe Schmo, would you give it a second thought? And and I think
yes, because if this was just Joe Schmo, I'd say Joe Schmo is an amazing guitar player, and he sounds an awful lot like Ace Frehley.
He sounds like
Look, I'm sure I made notes here, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. But if anything, this is a good guitar album. I would listen to this again, not so much for the singing or the songwriting. That's not where his strength lies. His strength lies in the guitar playing, and I was treated many, many, many times to some really cool lead guitar work. Now, mind you, he's regurgitating some things. He's not just guitar licks, but he's regurgitating a whole bunch of things. That's what I heard. But I think is there a fine line between regurgitating and saying, this is a personal style? Where's the fine line between that?
Well, we're going to vehemently disagree on this one.
Okay.
So, but that's okay. I mean, that's what we do, right? It's
Sorry, signature style is what I wrote down. Is there a fine line between regurgitation
I agree with that.
and a signature
I agree
style?
with that. I guess, do I agree that the lead guitar work on this album is excellent, and is it the star of the album? I would disagree with that. But that's personal.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Personal taste wise. Okay. But we can talk more about that. But for me, it's interesting because it's like you and I are polar opposites sometimes, and we're right on the same mark at others. This time, I think we're going to be polar opposite because I actually thought that the rhythm work and some of the song creativity, and I actually think he gets a lot out of his vocals given how well he can sing, which isn't very well. Yeah. So I just think he gets a lot out of it in the studio compared to some. So I like this. I find the chord progressions kind of interesting. I find his breakdowns, his drama that leads into the lead guitar playing very interesting. On Space Invader, and there's a number of songs where these pace changes. But I'll be honest with you, when I listen closely to some of the leads on this album, I found the execution very poor. And but that's a taste thing, and I just found that everybody says that he's sloppy, but what I found, Jeff, is that, and the best way I can categorize this is the way I felt about it. First of all, I like the album. I'm enjoying listening to it. I will listen to it. I may warm up to it even more, so I may start to like the lead work even more. But what I found is it's sort of like, it's almost like when someone, puts down a rhythm track or a bed track, and then they don't. Then they say, okay, well now it's time to do the lead guitar, and then they just start ripping off leads over the top of it, and but they don't stop and think about it. And I think he puts a lot more effort into the songs in terms of how he wants the songs to be. And he puts a lot less. He just assumes he can play great leads, so he just does it. So it ends up. That's why it ends up with all those signature pieces. There's about 5 things. He goes, okay, that goes in there, boom, pull it out. That goes in there, boom, pull it out. And even at that, the ones when he's executing them now, those parts that are in there, I don't find they're executed that well, and they don't fit together the way they should. That's the thing for me, is the fitting of everything together that doesn't work. Okay, that's my personal taste.
Well, I tell you what I liked. Usually in rock and roll, there's a formula. You do verse, chorus, verse, chorus, and then your solo. And 99% of Kiss stuff was like that. I mean, just take "I Want You" for instance, right? It's that exact same thing. Before you got to have 2 verses, 2 choruses before you do a guitar solo. I like the fact that Ace broke into some guitar solos early. Like he would do a verse, and I was like, let's do some lead
I agree
work.
with that.
And I thought that the tone, and there's a range of tones here, but on some of them, the tone was just absolutely killer. I'm going to talk about the track Space Invader, the very first track. And you talked about the changes in pace. When he goes into that solo, the music stops and he goes into a much more playful up-tempo thing, which was very reminiscent of Snowblind. Think about how Snowblind
absolutely
stops that da-da-da-da, and he goes into something much more playful. The tone, I just thought was great. He's obviously using a wah pedal, which is a great effective. It's not overdone. It's just an effective use of wah pedal. And then the second half of the solo, it's like, well, let's just grab a different guitar, a different amp, a different pedal. And it came in with a completely different tone. And to me, it sounded just like Slash on, I'm going to say Paradise City or Sweet Child of Mine, one of them. It just had this amazing Slash kind of tone, which I thought was great. So by the end of that song, I thought the tones had really grown on me. Whereas on a track like, I think it's called Starship, which is the instrumental, he had some really weird, bad...
But just stop for a second. I want to go back because I was laughing there because... And I put my glasses down because you said Slash. And I remember that moment... What exact...
Unless Slash played on it. I don't know. Did he?
No.
Wasn't him, was it?
I'll tell you what I was thinking. What I was thinking when you said that, and I was thinking when I listened to the album was... Geez, it would have been really cool if Slash had played that piece. I swear, because it sounded like that's what he was going for. But and you know what the wah's like. The wah hides a lot, right? It does.
Delay hides.
I listened to it really closely, and maybe that's a mistake because I found it really choppy, and he was trying to do that. But that's what I thought. That was funny you mentioned that. But that's exactly what I said. Geez, it'd be really great if you should have had Slash play this part. That would have been awesome if he'd have played on this and played that spot for him. And exactly that same kind of idea.
And here's another note I made. I mean, not so much guitar players. Yeah, it would have been cool to have some guest guitar players on it, but I don't know. See, to me, Ace Frehley is a guitar player. That's his thing. But I thought it would have been cool if in terms of vocal work, it would have been cool to have a collaboration. By the time I get to the 8th or 9th track, it's like I'm getting tired of hearing Ace's voice. He's not the greatest singer. I like Ace's voice. I like his Shock Me. I like his 78 solo album. Ace has a unique voice. It's unique, if anything. After a while, I thought, I don't know. What I kind of liked about Nugent in the 70s was he wasn't the main singer. You get a Nugent song, then you get a Derek song, then a Nugent song. And I only found out very recently that Meatloaf sang on some of Ted Nugent's earlier work. I didn't know that. I was listening to Free for All, and I was like, here's Meatloaf. Wouldn't it have been cool if, I was thinking if Ace had said, well, I'll sing a couple of tracks, but bring in someone like some cool 70s vocalists like Robin Zander, Meatloaf, Ted Nugent. What if he just went out and got some people to come in and collaborate on this? That's what I would have liked to have heard, was just a break from Ace's voice.
I'm keeping a downer on this, but the problem was I think that's what he thought that he was going to do, was write it. I thought he thought he was writing a guitar album, and normally I'd be drooling over his lead guitar work, but actually the vocals on this one, like you said, you're right. I mean, you listen to Ace for 14 tracks, it's going to be a lot. It's actually, listen to anybody for 14 tracks, that's a lot. But
exactly.
He had some really unique. There were some really unique sounding vocals for him. I can't remember which one it was. There was one he got really into. It was "I Want to Hold You." Maybe I didn't necessarily like the song, but there. And
I made a list of the ones I liked and which ones I were kind of.
So we're really polar on this one because it's.
I Want to Hold You was a good rockin' track. The first 3, Space Invader, Give Me a Feeling, and I Want to Hold You, solid. So 15 minutes into it, you're thinking like, this is a great album. I think it kind of goes a little bit downhill from there, but those first 3.
That's weird, eh?
Great stuff.
See, I like Space Invader. Give Me a Feeling. It was, I kind of ranked them. I didn't want to do track for track that much, but I did kind of give scores to them. But I Want to Hold You, I didn't like that at all. But now,
you didn't.
But that shows. That shows the differences in people's tastes. I liked the next one, which was called Change, which was really different and interesting. There was an interesting melody to it, and change of pace in it, an epic guitar sound in that one.
I didn't make. I just wrote down Change as one of the songs that wasn't overly inspiring.
Well, the lead was uninspiring. Like it was again, there was a song that
one of the things that I don't really care for in the album is this whole space theme. It just seems forced and contrived because Ace Frehley was a spaceman before he did his 1978 solo album, and he didn't force that theme on that album at all.
Yeah.
So it became much more contrived as time went on, and I don't know. Just one of the things that kind of bugs me is why does the song title have to be the chorus of the song? Just from it doesn't have to be from a songwriter's point of view. A lot of Pink Floyd, and I'm always comparing things to Pink Floyd. I don't know why, but you'll have a song where the title might appear in the song, and certainly doesn't always have to appear in the chorus. Psycho Circus, I found that was contrived. I knew the album was going to be called Psycho Circus, and I knew that one of the songs would be Psycho Circus. And in my mind, I was thinking, how are they going to work that into a chorus? Because I know they will. And I had it in my mind, I was going, Psycho Circus. And when I got the album and played it, I thought, that's exactly how I imagined it. Space Invader is the same thing. Space Invader. And I don't like that long space. It's a little bit too long. However, when you get past all the solos and get to the outro of the song, for some reason, that Space Invader becomes really almost addictive. It becomes a hook, and you get a little more hooked on it. So at the beginning of the song, I didn't like it, and towards the end of the song, I kind of got hooked on it.
Yeah.
Just from a songwriter's point of view. Just, you're taking this space theme. How do you write your songs based on that space theme? So some things worked, some things didn't. A song like Past the Milky Way had the worst line of all the songs. The line is, I'm running out of oxygen, but I still got my guitar. I thought that was probably the worst line of the album. Next to, has anyone seen George Jetson?
I didn't.
Did you hear that?
Okay, so
it's right at the end of this instrumental here. Called,
past the Milky Way? Oh no, Starship.
No, it's called Starship. And right at the end of it, he goes, has anyone seen George Jetson?
Well,
which is just
I don't even know what to say, Jeff, because the space theme, as you said, for a long time, like I said, what always used to, I mean, I've never, Ace has always had very simplistic themes to his songs, right? And think of the songs if you go back, and his lyrics have been very, again, very, everything rhymes every other sentence, mind, find, kind, blind, right? Just that kind of a pattern. So, but I've always been able to overlook that, and the reason I've been able to overlook it is because of the quality of the riffs, right? When you think back to his original solo album, the lyrics on that weren't that great on that album. It's not that the song, it was the song structures and the riffs that he put together. It was never going to be, Pink Floyd-esque, supersonic, harmonic sounds to it was going to be rock and roll, and the lead guitar work carried it, and the breakdowns carried it. He was a musician's musician, right? Yeah.
Well, I think you got to look at the reason why Ace is writing songs. Okay, for the first album, he had Cold Jan. I don't think he had it. Yeah, he had Strange Ways in the next one. Ace had a song or two pop up here and there. And he said many, many years later, when he thought about it, when he was a 1/4 equal partner in Kiss, he said he wished he'd tried harder. He allowed Gene and Paul to write all the songs, and he just said he wished he'd worked harder. He wasn't a songwriter because he's not a singer. Then you get to a little bit later on in the career, and he's had some success with Shock Me and Rocket Ride. Now they've got to do solo albums. So now Ace is forced to write 8 or 9 or 10 songs. And now, in 2014, Ace doesn't want to allow the public to think that he's, gone and forgotten. I think the reason he did this album is to show that Ace is still here. Ace hasn't gone anywhere. But I don't think his reasons for writing songs are the same as, say, Paul and Gene's. Paul's a singer, and he writes songs because he can sing. Gene wrote songs because he was heavily influenced by the Beatles, and I think he's a decent songwriter. And he had dreams of making it big, and that's why he wrote those songs. But I think Ace writes for a different reason, and I think it's not a song. It's not the same as, say, Dylan. Dylan's a poet, and he has something to say. Ace writes them because he wants
I think
to
Ace
put out
writes
an album.
songs. I think what he does is sits down with this. That's why I was saying before that I used to be able to. I can always forgive his themes because what he just, if he just ignored those themes, it would just make it that much better. But what he does is, what I think, being a songwriter myself, what I think he does is that he just gets his guitar out and he comes across something and he captures it and then he builds on it and then. He builds, a structure to the song. Then I think his last thought is, okay, what's it going to be called, and what are the lyrics going to be? And okay, well, it's going to be something spacey, so let's do something. But in this album, I think it was 5 thematic songs that had to do with something to do with that. And then he starts throwing the lyrics together, which is obviously his weakest talent, is to string together lyrics. We had that discussion before, you and I talking about.
We'll rendezvous on Mars.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, that's just the whole. That's the. But you can buy into your own hype at some point, right? Like that's like he even on his first solo album. Remember, no, not solo, but the first Frehley's Comet album. The first song on that album was "The Rock Soldiers." Well, Ace is back, and he told you so, right? And so he's seems to be somewhat preoccupied with his rock godness to some extent, right? Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, but anyway, the song structures. I like the album. What I was wondering, what you think about this, is that I find everybody's got these expectations of him, that this album is going to be like, I don't know what they thought it was. Like, so many people got these huge expectations of what this album was going to be like. Like it was going to be this second coming of Shock Me or something. I don't know, right?
No, I don't think people had huge expectations. Mainly because I don't think Anomaly was fantastic. Kiss fans will buy it to hear it just on that hope that it's going to be the 1978 all over again, which it can't be because it's not 1978. And you liked it, you didn't like it, whatever. But I don't think Anomaly was anything overly great. So I don't know what anyone was expecting with this album. I was expecting something better than Anomaly. I was. I don't know why. Maybe just because I like the cover. I don't know. He went out and got Ken Kelly to paint the cover. So it has that, Kiss art theme style. Space Invader, and I don't know. I think I had bigger expectations for this one, and I think Ace came through. I think he did a better job on this than Anomaly.
And someday we'll be able to go back and we'll do the Ace Frehley solo album cover art. Be able to do a show on that. I'm sure you'll be happy about that.
There you go.
What I'm afraid of with this, and what I see happening, and I've been watching some of the posts on different sites, is that this album is becoming an excuse for the Ace camp people to point at Gene and Paul and say, see, he said, this is way better than your shit.
Yeah.
But also,
see,
let me finish this.
I did that.
I know, finish this thing, okay? The other side of it is that it's also the people that are in the Gene and Paul camp, and there are some people that seem to be like that. I don't think I'm anywhere at this stage when it comes to that, but it's all excuses. Like, they can point to this, and they can, if they want to, they can find something in this album that says, see, we told you he was a loser. And then the Ace camp people say, see, it's better than Sonic Boom, it's better than Monster, it's better than whatever. And then it's all this fucking, fighting going on instead of just looking at his album and saying, when I was talking to Joe, I told him, I said, I think Ace should never again compare himself to anything that Kiss does. He should just compare himself to what he does, and just take the high road, and don't even get into that with them anymore, and don't buy into it, and just don't even acknowledge it. Just talk about your stuff.
Yeah.
Do your stuff.
The Kiss Army, or whatever it is, Kiss fans, Ace fans, it's become that. It's become such a circus, and it's become such a frenzy of people. Yeah, people. It's a psycho circus of people just bickering and complaining and bring back Ace and Peter. And I think Eddie Trunk actually made a comment to say, this is great. This is Ace. Ace is back, and poo to Monster and Sonic Boom. People are going to compare. They are. I compared it mainly on whether I can't compare the albums, Ace's album to Kiss. musically because they're two different things. What I compared it to is which one did I like better, and I think I liked Ace's for the music. But in the end, I found myself comparing that album, this new one, to his 1978 solo album. In fact, there were so many similarities. It's funny, after I was putting the kayak on the car, and I had some of Ace's 78 stuff, like I don't know, Ozone or Snowblind or In Need of Love. One of them sounded very much like I'm in need of love. And I had that in my head, and I'm thinking, wow, I got Ace on the brain, and that's the, like I say, that's his signature style. And I don't know if he was just intentionally copying that or whether it's just his style, but, that album got inside my head, started bouncing around a bit. Before I knew it, I had some of the old 1978 stuff going. So, yes, I think we should be comparing his new album to his former material.
Yeah, and I think, Jeff, if you go back and listen really hard to the 1978 solo album, which isn't fair, by the way, because that was so good, and that was when he was probably at his prime. From a playing perspective, his creative perspective, and that's the thing I find, like on the lead guitar. If you listen to those two albums from a lead guitar perspective, and actually stop and really focus on the execution and the structure of those leads. And I'm not a structure guy myself, but I can hear it and I can feel it when I see it. That made any sense, but that's the difference for me. You listen to the lead guitar work on both of those, and you won't see they'll be night and day if you put them side by side. But that's okay. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't like it. It just means it's unfortunate for me because I love Ace Frehley and I loved his lead guitar playing, but it's the one thing on this album for me that was a letdown because it was like built up. Okay, great. Oh, geez, what the hell is that? He did that last time, and here it comes. Oh, that. Oh, geez, what the hell's that? Did he do two takes on that or just one take on that one? There's some later ones that I mean it's if I'm only 4 times into it, and I don't know how many times you've been into it either, but it's like I overanalyze.
Twice or 3
I'm
times.
a musician, right? It's just like you are, but
if I like the lead work. I like the tone on
the tone was
of it.
good.
Again, some of the tone was really wonky.
Yeah,
the tone was killer in places, and he had some really cool licks, and a couple of them I'm thinking like, oh, I've heard that before. I've heard that bend and that little pull off. I've heard that phrasing before. If anything, by the time I got through the album, I thought to myself, it's very homogeneous, and that he's doing. If you think about the solo to I Want You or the solo to Shock Me, it's very much in that style, and Ace can do so much more. Think about the intro to Torpedo Girl. That's an intricate, nice little bit of work. Think about the intro to Speeding Back to My Baby. That's got some intricate little work. And Wiped Out.
Yeah,
I love the guitar work on Wiped Out, and these are so it's almost funk. Think about Wiped Out. If you can get Wiped Out in your head, think about Torpedo Girl. It's almost like a clean telly sound going through a big It's very funky, almost like an R&B kind of.
But
I'm almost hearing a Telecaster going through a big Fender twin reverb, and I'm thinking, why couldn't Ace give us a break on our ears by bringing in some different style like
Torpedo Girl. I lose it.
Let's take
Torpedo Girl. I'll blow your mind, Torpedo Girl.
I can tell you don't like.
Actually,
Torpedo
I like
Girl.
what you said. Like the little intro to it is fantastic. The rhythm guitar,
that's cool.
But then he starts to sing, and then it becomes that. Then it's just the rhyme schemes. But I overlooked that. I just would have liked that song if it had been on another album where it was a little heavier sounding than a little.
Yeah, I'd like for him to take that clean, funky intro, and continue that through the song. Because when you get into the dun 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 dun, that's just simple. That's like Dr. Love.
But it sounded good.
Power chords. But the guitar work before that is really funky and cool. And I'd like to see him expand that.
Absolutely.
Really cool funky guitar.
And I think that's what.
So if anything, I think the album. Sorry to cut you off there, like I do all the time, but I think if anything, for that reason, the album seems forced and contrived. As much as I like it, I think he could have expanded it sonically.
See, I don't think it's contrived. I think that the rhythm playing. That's one thing that held up for me over the years is that his rhythm playing and his rhythm creations are just as good for me as some of the earlier stuff. and to me it sounds, if it sounds contrived, it's like I said, he's got a limited vocabulary on the electric guitar now, and that's why it feels contrived to me. It's like I said, it's almost like there are 5 parts in the first lead. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the second lead, it's 2, 4, 3, 5, 4. You know what I mean? It's that kind of a thing. So everything feels forced, right? It does. I'd love to hear him sing his leads first. You know what I mean? Like when he, instead of don't touch a guitar, actually hum the leads, like, you know, because we could, you and I right now, if we wanted to, I bet you we could play the lead to Shock Me and sing it. You know what I mean? We could vocalize it. It would sound like shit, but we could vocalize it in our head, and I can't do that with any lead on this album.
So what you're saying there is that the lead to Shock Me is
as a voice,
lyrical in its delivery as a voice, whereas the leads in this album are just more flashy.
Think of that lead. Yeah.
Oh, that's very.
I mean, you can keep going. You can keep going.
But see, that makes. That's a Paul Stanley song, and it makes me wonder, like, who made up the lead?
It's definitely Ace-isms throughout it. Right? There's no doubt about it.
There's enough chromatic stuff in it to make me think it's Ace, but it's more lyrical. But
he did that before too. Like I said, like a lot of his earlier stuff, even Rip It Out. Right, even Rip It Out has a voice to it. It's not quite as good as some of the other stuff, but it's got a voice to it that you can definitely hear it. Absolutely. And then, but this is like, you think of the lead to I don't know, what was it called? Oh, Give Me a Feeling. Right, when it intros right into a lead, right, into that usual, like, as you said, you know, pentatonic, you know, he does the same position a lot of different places, but it's just stuff, right? And he keeps jabbing around at the stuff in the same place, and it doesn't have a purpose to it. Like some of those other things, that's why I think he just kind of lost that voice, you know. I want to be careful though, because I am going to listen to this CD more and more, and I enjoy it. So I enjoy it. You know, if you ask me an opinion, do I enjoy it more than Sonic Boom and Monster? I don't want to compare it, but if you ask me it that way, I'd say yes, I do. I enjoy it much more. I enjoy it more than that.
Yeah, I think of it in terms of which one I'll play more.
It's more. I think the rhythms and the variations and the chances he took on some of the stuff. Right, there's some songs in here that he took some chances on. There's some stuff, like you said, is contrived, but there's a song like that. That's why I liked Change, because it was so weird. It was different for him, and I don't like different just because it's different. But now a song like Whatever Girl Wants, it was kind of dumb. Yeah.
Well, here's a few notes I made on some individual songs. Immortal Pleasure. I like his use of acoustic guitar. The acoustic guitar
was really nice.
Doubles the electric, which is very reminiscent of Making Love and some other earlier Kiss stuff. And in Making Love, the acoustic was very subtle, but in this one, it's almost, it's like the acoustic is in the left channel and the electric's in the right channel, and it was very, very prominent.
That song was weird. You know what was weird about that song? Was that the verse was better than the chorus in Immortal Pleasures. I wrote that down. I wrote the same thing down. I always had this really interesting guitar on that one, like you said, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing I wrote about that song was it borrows from I'm in Need of Love. If you somewhere into it, it's almost like it's the vocal line. It's the exact same melody from some line. In I'm in Need of Love. And
this is one of those songs that I thought the lead breakdown was really cool, but the lead didn't live up to the breakdown. In other words, so it's okay. Yeah, okay, this is gonna be cool, and then I wrote down lead could be better, Ace-isms. Right, and it was like, and whenever I hear those, I
I made a note. Inside the Vortex had some really nice solo work. I thought it was good. I just thought it was contrived. It was a space theme. It's like it's Into the Void. He actually got a song called Into the Void. This is called Into the Vortex. It's almost a little too close for comfort. The song Toys,
just before you go too far,
Hell's Breaking Loose.
So let me keep up to here. So like you said, on the into the Vortex, I agreed with you on that. I said there was this weird little guitar rolls that he did going into the chorus that were really off pattern. Like there was an extra couple of steps in there that were really weird, and the riff itself was not that memorable. But there was these little cool rolls he did leading into the chorus. Another cool breakdown, right? The lead mix was very dramatic. The main lead, again, disappointed, did not live up to the build-up, is what I said about that one. Yeah, it's interesting. What are you doing, Toys?
Toys, it reminded me of All Hell's Breaking Loose, which I think stole... Wasn't there a Tommy Thayer band had a song called something, and it was almost identically the same to All Hell's Breaking Loose? Didn't you show me?
It was
something one time. There's a song that Tommy Thayer's band had recorded.
It was close to Domino.
It was Domino. Yes, it was Domino. Yeah. Okay. Well, in this one, Toys, I can almost hear All Hell's Breaking Loose.
It's weird. It's not really sticking with me. I just wrote down, offbeat.
Yeah, it just reminded me of it. It's not like it's ripping it off. It's like there's so many songs that sound like Day Tripper, or there's so many songs that sound like Under My Thumb.
One of the things I noticed, there was a lot of slide-ins to songs. Like he's, exactly. And what's really interesting, there was but
it's like a motorcycle revving up. I think the first 3 songs have that. It's like this motorcycle rev.
And then a lot of
just sliding into it,
in the songs.
That's something that Eddie Trunk noticed. He said, "I'm really digging this groove, and Ace is now doing an outro solo, and then the fade out was too fast." And that's all. I mean, at one time in the studio, it was a physical fade out that actually pull a fader down. Now with software, it's you can set how long you want that fade out to be. But I noticed that too, and I remembered what Eddie Trunk had said, that the fade outs are a little bit too quick. And I'm just like, I'm enjoying hearing this solo.
That's really interesting, because if you go back to some of the Kiss records, and some of the most interesting parts are in that fade out. Most people would have stopped paying attention, and if you just in the background, if you really paid attention, there was something really cool going on with the lead guitar, and sometimes with the vocals, right? And I think he's right on with that, actually, because those were some. I didn't think about it till you just said that. There were some really cool moments that I bet you a lot of Kiss fans don't even know exist, because they'd stop listening right at that point, getting ready for the next song, right? Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There
was another song I made a note of. It stole right out of Ozone.
It was probably Change.
I can't remember which one it was.
Change had these kind of spacey kind of chords in it, right?
Yeah. Past the Milky Way. The soloing in the guitar tone was kind of cool. There's a run in it. If you think about Ozone, and Ozone is one of those strange songs where it goes into completely different style and tempo and mood for the solo. But I haven't got a guitar handy, but it's like a it kind of comes down and it goes up, and it's just a lot of pull. It's just a pentatonic scale, if this makes any sense. It's a pentatonic scale exercise. You can do this exercise yourself. We play like 3 notes, go back by 1, play the next 3 notes, go back by 1, and it just gives you this really playful, bouncy kind of thing. For anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about, listen to the solo from Ozone, then listen to the solo for, what did I just say it was, Past the Milky Way, and you'll hear the exact same run. Now that wasn't just, that's my style. He had to copy that because it's so unique to that solo in Ozone. He's paying homage to...
That song there, the things I noticed was the intro is what's saying, "This one's for you, Rachel," or for Rachel, right? Yeah.
Is that what he said, Rachel?
I think it was
who's Rachel? Rachel's his wife.
I don't know if she's his wife or not, but I wrote down in that song that it reminded me of the Who quite a bit. Yeah, and then but a very cool intro, and then a stretch vocal. Like the vocal was like stretching his voice on that one. I thought he stretched to get the lead. I wrote down meh. And I also wrote down very choppy, even for Ace. So that's one I'd ask you to go listen to again. Listen to the lead break part of it, and listen to the articulation of it from Past the Milky Way. So the actual lead breakdown in it, and listen to how he's playing the lead, and listen to how he's actually executing on it. And that's one I would really point to and say that's the ones that I have a problem with.
See, this is interesting. I like bouncing these ideas off of you, and you're bouncing ideas off of me. And after we do the show, I'll go back and listen to this again.
Yeah,
with
me too.
Completely
me too,
different.
Because and of course, inside the vortex, into the void, another sort of cross.
Is it inside the vortex? Oh, inside the vortex, into the void. Sorry,
I think I wrote it down right.
The two, What did you think of his?
The first time I heard it, I kind of liked it, but every time, the more I listened to it, the less I liked it. Mm-hmm. And the actual, I just found it was really sluggish in it at first, like it's the guitar part, and then when he goes, I found the transition to the chorus was very awkward and very cumbersome. Just the way he did the guitar, I can't remember how he does that. He does an extra beat in the guitars.
Yeah. I like the way. I don't like the song, but I like the way that he. Yeah, I like the way he made it his own, and he made it his own by changing little rhythmic things. I don't think his singing is great on it. I don't think it's a great choice of song. Maybe just because it says Space Cowboy. By the way, I got to give props to Chris Medic at this point. He did up a graphic probably a year ago, and it's Ace Frehley on a planet wearing a cowboy uniform, and it says Space Cowboy. And
how long ago was it?
I thought that was cool. And then
that people were speculating that he was going to do the Joker. It was a long time ago. It might have been even back then.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Just because of that line, Space Cowboy. I don't think it was a great choice for him just because the line Space Cowboy is there. I don't think it was a great choice.
Me too.
I loved his Fox on the Run. Oh my God, that's great because it's a great song. I
like Steve Miller's Joker.
It's just, it's a campfire song.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
it's simple as hell.
It can be. That's what makes it hard
to pull off. It's a campfire song. Right? So anyway, what I liked is that Ace changed little rhythmic things, and I thought he did it well. Which I thought, okay, that's not so bad, but I'm not a fan of the song, so he'd have to do something.
You know what it sounded like to me? It sounded like, and I'm always, I guess this is what I think these days. It sounded like to me they decided one day to go in the studio, and they said, okay, let's do the Joker, and okay, the click track, put the click track on. Okay, I'm just another song, and oh, that's how the rhythm's going to go. We'll do it this way. All right, let's lay that one down, and then got a bass. Throw a bass on there, and then he starts singing. He didn't stretch the vocals on the bass on this song at all. There's some vocals that are hard to sing on this song, and
his first line is way off. Some people call me the Space Cowboy. Just listen to that first line. It's like, I don't know. I mean, he changed the melody a bit, but it's not. It doesn't seem to be in key.
The guitar parts, I thought,
the key that he's chosen.
If it started with the guitar part he started with, and then the next time around he built on it or something like that, made it little more interesting. It was the same thing over and over again. The chorus was in the pocket, and it was smooth, and it was good harmony. So it was kind of catchy, like the regular song. But it's all right.
Something I just thought of, and maybe I missed the obvious, but I guess the Joker, I mean, Ace Frehley always is kind of like a Joker. I think about Batman Joker, the white makeup, there's some similarity there, but within Kiss, Ace was always the Joker, the funny guy. Always looking for the laugh, always laughing at something. So I guess in a way that fits. I thought it was chosen just for that line, Space Cowboy, but now that I think about it, if you had to pick a Joker,
here's the whole topic, though, is should he be even doing covers? Like, why do covers?
Well,
it's supposed to be all covers,
his next. Did you read about his next project? He's going to do a cover project, and he wants to bring in a whole bunch of guest musicians and artists. He's even asked Gene Simmons to appear on this, and he won't say what the song is, but for some reason it's relevant to have Gene sing on this song. But I think it's cool. I like it when established artists do between the covers or under the covers project. I like that because what it does, and my favorite is Susanna Hoffs and Matthew Sweet. If you're not a fan of Susanna Hoffs or Matthew Sweet, it doesn't matter. I urge you to check out the two albums they've made called Under the Covers or Between the Covers. There's one a tribute to the 60s, one's a tribute to the 70s. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But what it does is it shows the music that influenced them. And I've often thought about doing just a cover CD of the songs that influenced me. The BTO, the Stampeders, the Kiss, the Blue Oyster Cult, the Ted Nugent. I would love to do my own, just to show the music that influenced me. And I think if Ace were to do the same thing, say I'm doing 10 cover tunes, and these are my favorite 10 rock and roll songs of all time, I think I would enjoy that album.
It's personal choice. I think for him, it's. I think he doesn't put out enough material that when he does put it out, that I just assume hear another Ace Frehley song is hear a cover song. But if he was more prolific in his recording.
But hasn't he always thrown a cover on every album?
A lot of them, yeah.
I don't know about everyone, but a lot of them. I mean, he did something by ELO. What was that song? Do Ya?
Yeah.
And New York Groove was a cover.
Yeah.
And he did Fox on the Run. Now he did the Joker. It's almost like the prize at the bottom of the Cracker Jack box, because if I get 12 unknown songs, they're not familiar to me, but it's like Fox on the Run was the highlight of Anomaly. And I remember skipping forward. It's like, okay, now I want to hear Fox.
But that's a song that did a great job. I think when he does covers, he tends to pick covers that sort of, like I said, Fox on the Run was a good vocal for him, right? And so was Do Ya, and so he did Hard Your Heart too. Was another one, right?
I was just going to say there was one that he covered a Kiss tune that was on a Kiss album about the same time. It was Hide Your Heart.
But he did. It could be he did, but he just did those certain kind of vocals, like those right in his pocket. So, but I don't know. I don't know. I would just assume if I would take the Joker off this one and put another Ace song on here. But I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you. Like we're about 50 minutes into this. I would say that for me, there's a couple of duds here. I mean, outright duds. But other than that, I liked most of the songs on here. I like the album. It's a good album. For me to really like this album, I would have liked, like I said, I think you can guess. If the lead guitar playing had paid off, if the themes were there and the drama was lived up to, it would be a great album for me.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear more diversity in the tones. There's different tones. More diverse than some of the tones are really albums, bad, right? But. Well, just try a clean sound. Take a Telecaster and put it through a Fender amp and get a clean sound, and something more reminiscent of Torpedo Girl or Wiped Out. I'd like to hear some more of that kind of thing happening, rather than just the typical shock me solo.
A mystery to me, because I do find that his rhythm playing right now is just as good as it ever was. But I don't find his lead playing is, which is like, I wouldn't think that would be the case. You know what I mean? Like everybody think like rhythm, it doesn't necessarily mean it's easy, right? To play those break.
Well, Peter Townsend defined rhythm guitar. I mean, no one can stand up to him. I mean, he's not a lead guitar. He does some leads, but it's the rhythm that gives the Who that sound. But if you want to look at rhythm guitar, like the intro to "Speeding Back to My Baby,"
it's a riff.
That's lead, but I mean that's a riff. Ace comes up with a Cold Gin.
I'm going to do a recording sometime, Jeff, on here, of taking that same pattern that he does, and he does because he uses the same form for "Speeding Back to My Baby," so many different pieces. That he does that are start from the same place but then sound different, right? They sound really different.
I mean, it's the pentatonic scale. For anyone who plays guitar, you have like if you're an A, you start on the 5th fret of the guitar, and there's a scale. It's 5 notes in succession, but it can go all the way from the big string to the little string, and you can extend it further up the neck. But for the most part, you've got 5 notes that are the pentatonic scale, and they don't stray from that. So there's you can it's the order in which you play them, the order in which you bend them, pulling them off, how fast do you get up to the real high notes. But again, it's a pentatonic scale, so you've got to leave that scale in order to do something different, and Ace isn't leaving that. That's rock and roll for it. Rock and roll is all based on the pentatonic scale, so he's not going to leave that. That's why I wanted to hear something more like Wiped Out or Torpedo Girl that was more funk.
Yeah, you have to think about it differently. You have to think about it, like I said before. You have to think about it as a voice, as opposed, and because you can still do that within the pentatonic scale, but without getting too technical. But you have to think of it that way. You can't just think, okay, well, I'm Ace, so I can play stuff, right? I have to come up with something.
When you think of Ace Frehley soloing, you think of the rocket going off and the smoke encircling him and a whole bunch of lights, and it's almost like he's in the studio, he's doing a solo. It's almost like, does he have his eyes closed, picturing himself on stage and all the smoke and the rockets and whatever? Because that's what I'm getting from that. And it's like, that's not lead guitar. That's stage solos. But if you're in the studio doing lead guitar, Can you not come up with something more melodic and more lyrical?
I just wonder if that's what he used to be able to do. You know what I mean? I wonder if that was like in the early days. I wonder if he was able to go into the studio and just sit down and then fire off about 3 leads, and he'd have all these natural creativity, that generated leads like "Come On and Love Me" and "Rock Bottom" and these kind of things. And now he's trying to do the same thing.
See,
and maybe over time, with the abuse, that maybe the creativity, the channel isn't as open as it used to be.
The point I was just making is that it's when you think of Ace Frehley solo, you think flashy. And I got from this album that every time he went to solo, it had to be flashy. But if you think about the solo to Deuce, he's taken one note and he bends that for what?
Yeah, exactly.
16 or 32 measures. And then Come On and Love Me, it's almost the same thing. He's just taken a note and he's just bending the shit out of it.
Well,
and
it's
almost like he's making love to one note. You know?
That's why his lips did what they did. Yep. And that's not even a joke. When he used to pout and do that stuff, it's because he was feeling
the
that
note.
guitar.
Yep.
He was coming through his body out in every part of him.
Exactly.
And I think that's what
and
it was.
And now it's like when I listen to this album, every time he solos, I'm picturing that little rocket on his headstock going around.
Yeah, I think you're probably
like I just think like just slow that down and just be more melodic with it.
I think the well is just a little bit dry, and that's. But you know what? End of the day,
at the end of the day, I liked it.
I did too. I think it's a really good effort, and I'm gonna I'll trash the lead guitar.
We've got a couple of minutes left. I just wanted to share one note. The song Starship. It's a cliche. The space effects and the astronaut communications off the top. You can't hear what these astronauts are saying. There's some kind of intergalactic catastrophe. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, what's going on over there?
The guitar theme was very repetitive, and it wasn't very inspiring. In fact, the bass was the most prominent instrument. So you got this chords, but then the bass guitar is doing
bizarre.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
But it was in the theme of Fractured Mirror. In fact, in the middle, you can actually hear Fractured Mirror chords, which... It kind of reminded me of Escape from the Island as well, but yet Escape from the Island was much, much catchier than this. What I don't understand is what makes Fractured Mirror so great that he has to keep coming back to that, because he does it on every album. Fractured 2, Fractured 3. He didn't do Fractured 4, but he changed the title, but there's a little bit of Fractured Mirror in there. I don't know what's so great about this. I mean, if you're going to look at Ace Frehley's legacy, if you're going to come back to something and pay homage, let's do Speeding Back to My Baby Again, or Rip It Open One More Time, Rip It Out One More Time. I mean, those are what stands out on that album.
I saw a concert in New York City of him in 2012, and he opens with Fractured Mirror. It's playing like it's a sample. Right? Yeah. But the sample's playing, but then he goes in to Rip It Out. But it's like it's going on for like 5 minutes. I think I was done after the first minute. Yes. I like it for a minute. And then it's like
2 chords. And for anyone who's a fan of Ace, but you haven't listened to it, check out on Ozzy Osbourne's second album. It's Randy Rhoads. I think the song is called "You Can't Kill Rock and Roll." It's the exact same thing as Fractured Mirror. It sounds exactly like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Someone posted that recently. I hadn't really heard the song, but it's called "You Can't Kill Rock and Roll." Anyway, it's exactly the same as Fractured Mirror. Yeah. So we've got a minute left. So
wait.
I think we covered everything. This is a good discussion.
It's good to talk to you. It's good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
I was going to say, my gosh, we haven't done anything all summer, so this is our first chance to chat.
Well, we still have another show in the can.
We have another show in the can. It needs a lot of production, but so I'm working on that, working on some graphics and some editing. But this is timely. I want to get this out as close to the release date as possible for Anomaly. Not Anomaly, sorry, Space Invader. So
a little late for that one.
I know. Yeah. So, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do we got here? Do we have a mixed? This is Ace's symbol. What do we got here? Oh, okay, yeah. Listen, I just want to say it's great to see Ace Frehley back out there. The Spaceman has returned.
Yeah, I agree.
He's been on TV. I'm sure he's going to make a whole ton of appearances. Our friend Christine Vitale is in New York tomorrow. She is going down to see him at the Sam Ash Music Store. He's going to sign her album. It's a great time for Kiss fans and Ace Frehley fans.
Right.
30 seconds.
That's it.
All right.
Good.
Good to see you again, Jeff.
Wrap it out.
So this is Jeff Scott for Watching You in St. John, New Brunswick.
And Jeff Gray for Watching You in Stewiacke, Nova Scotia.
All right, then. We'll see you next time. Take care, folks.